there's something about Till Human Voices Wake Us that I can't quite put my finger on, that I find to be almost magical. There's an ethereal quality to this film, and I think when I first sat down to watch it, I maybe didn't expect anything specific, but what it delivered was not what I was expecting. Thankfully, that delivery is brilliant, and this is such a lovely film. Now, as I've said before, I've seen every film Helena Bonham Carter has done, and for me, if I had to rank this, it would definitely be in the bottom half of her films, but that's not saying much because most of her films are absolutely incredible, but it's still a pretty decent film. It was released in 2002, directed and written by Michael Petroni, and stars, of course, HBC and Guy Pearce. And I'll read the description from IMDb, which I think, well, I was going to say explains it well. It kind of does, but it's also a film that really just needs to be seen to be truly understood. And even then, there are some kind of questions at the end that's up to you to decide. The description is as follows. A man returns to Victoria, Australia, where he grew up, and encounters a mysterious woman who reminds him of someone he once knew. I want to go into a tiny little bit more detail than that, but not too much. Basically, when he was younger, he went with his best friend into the lake. It's important that his best friend has potentially important that his best friend has a prosthetic leg, because he removes the leg for her, and they have a lovely time in the water just existing and enjoying the moment. And then she's gone. Now, I don't know if the implication there is that he removed her leg and then suddenly she didn't have the full ability to stay afloat. I don't even know if that's possible or how it would work. But for me, that's what I read into that little bit there. And anyway, years later, he becomes a psychologist. There's definitely some kind of deep-rooted trauma from that experience, and he meets this woman called Ruby, played of course by Helena Bonham Carter, and Ruby in many ways is like Silvy, and he's very much, there is the suggestion that it's the same person, even though obviously that's not what we're led to believe. But for him in his state of mind, it's not always clear if he feels like she just reminds him of her, or if he actually believes it's her. I feel like the former, but sometimes the latter. It would be an interesting mental health study, but that's not really, you could read that into the film, but it's not blatant. It's really just about these two beings, both of whom are, I guess, isolated in their own ways, coming together and being together and enjoying the concept of another being within your bubble. And there is a kind of mysterious, magical element to this, and I think it's beautifully executed. The narrative is surprising, and it's very atmospheric, and I can't really fault it. The pacing's great, the pacing's very good, the narrative develops really well. Usually I don't like films that leave us with questions, but actually it works really well here. And it's only a minor question of, do you as an audience member, as a viewer, think that Ruby is just a random person, or do you think it could somehow be Silvy? I don't know. I mean, they don't look that much alike, but in terms of mannerisms and things, it's just a really intricate, really detailed, but yet easy to follow story. It is very isolated. There are not that many supporting characters. Guy Pearce and HPC are brilliant as our protagonists. It's really good. As I said, I wouldn't put it in the top half of HBC's films, just because I think once viewing it once, it would lose its magic on repeat viewings, because it's that element of the unknown that works really well. But it's still a good film. I still enjoyed it, and I absolutely recommend it.